today's journey is featuring a licensed practicing pharmacist, and in the last 20 years, he has lived in India and London, and today makes his home in the United States. Calling from the best that Eastern and Western medicine has to offer, our guest has offered a bridge between the two, offering the combining his knowledge of psychology, physiology, pharmacology, and the body-mind connection to produce a unique, simple, and practical approach to healing and human vitality. We welcome Sanjib Nandi.
Thank you, David, for inviting me in your show. I hope I can give some useful tips and information to your listeners.
No worries, and no doubt it will hit someone who will want some advice. So I always like to know, where does your journey begin?
So, David, I was born and brought up in India. I lived there for 26 years, and I finished my pharmacy schooling in India. And I was looking for better opportunities after finishing my pharmacy school. So in 2002, I moved to London, and I lived and worked there for 5 years. And in 2008, I moved to United States, and I have been living and working here as a pharmacist for the past 14 years.
That is amazing, because obviously everyone likes to hear about moving because it's a dream and journey of its own right mind. So going from one country to a country that is already big, which is the United Kingdom, to move into the United States, that's two big steps in this short space of time.
Oh, yes. When you are, going from one country to other country, it's definitely a huge change. But you learn so much at the same time. Like, the culture which I was living in India was completely different. And when I moved to London, I have to adjust myself to that, culture and work environment. And same thing, when I came to United States, again, I have to learn fast because, things does not work the same way in each country. So it has given me a broader perspective of life, how to work in different kind of environment, how to change myself, and how to become better in any field.
Tell us about what would you say your journey is at the moment in currently?
I always try to learn something new, put myself outside my comfort zone. So I published my first book in 2021, The Man with Zero Talent. And it's about self-help and self-improvement, how we can make ourselves better. Because at one point in my life, I was struggling and I don't know what to do. So I wanted to give a clear-cut roadmap or whoever is in need to make their life better. So it's about how you can change yourself, what are the obstacles which comes in your way, and how you can become a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
And the name of the book is The Man with Zero Talent. And I definitely believe that no human being is born talented. Like when we are born, we are a blank slate. And, in a course of time, we start learning, we started, eventually learning languages. Then we, learn how to read and write. And we can learn bigger things in our life eventually. And, the same process goes on as you become older. Learning is the key to a happy and healthy life. When we stop learning, we kind of, stop growing at the same time. And in 2022, I launched my first app, which is called Luvo, Luvo. And it's an extension of my book. So it has different sections, like it has a section about meditation. It has a section about exercise. Then we have section for water intake. Then I have a section for sleep analysis. Then we have mood checks, gratitude, breathing exercise, We have a smartwatch integrated recently, so you can get all the data from the smartwatch to the app. And then we have blogs to give you knowledge and information. And from the next month, we are going to start live sessions, like live sessions for meditation, live sessions for yoga, sessions for healthy eating and gratitude. So there are different things which is coming, in the planning phase. I have a YouTube channel at the same time. I release my music in YouTube channel and Spotify. So till now, I have more than 15 songs in Spotify. I write the lyrics of these songs, and I'm passionate about music because music can change the state of anybody's mind. And I write music which is inspirational because, that is my key, how we can inspire the other human being, because we all need inspiration from time to time. So these are the things which I have done. And there are, many things which I wanted to do. I wanted to become a singer. I wanted to become a dancer. I wanted to do other things. And I don't know, how far I can reach, but I, always push myself and see, how far I can reach in that particular field.
Yeah. And about pushing yourself, I always learned from my past experience, you've always got to push yourself that extra 10% to make yourself better.
Well, yes, means definitely, when you're pushing yourself, it is hard, but the fruits of that hard work pays off later.
Totally.
Because, when you are doing something difficult, it is making you uncomfortable. And, as a human being, we don't want to feel uncomfortable. I read a lot about, brain and mind, brain, body and mind connection. So when you are pushing ourselves to the extreme, your brain says, don't try this. Don't do anything which is hard. And that is the reason most of the people don't go outside their comfort zone. But when you have learned the skill set, how to go outside your comfort zone, do the things, and eventually, it will be a kind of skill set which you will keep all your life. Like, I know every time what is going to happen when I try something new. If your baseline dopamine is kind of in the baseline, when you try something new, initially it is going to go higher because, you are excited, you are trying to do. Then it will go down. Why? Because it is hard. Anything which is harder, your mind says, don't do it. But slowly, when you are doing that hard thing, it will slowly rise and it is going to go above the baseline. Because, you have achieved something or you have made yourself something better than your previous version.
Yeah, it's true on that, because about that, it's always trying to be the better version. And I've learned that over time, I've always set myself targets and I always seem to think they're too high for myself. But I do accomplish it. I don't say I fail at it. I say it takes time because that's what it's all about.
You are absolutely true, David. Anything you are trying to do new or adventurous, it takes around 60 to 90 days to change. And most of the people, just let it go after 10 or 15 days. Oh, this is too hard. I don't want it to try it. But if you are persistent, you are definitely going to go that far and you are going to achieve, whatever you are trying to do it. The key here is repetition and persistence. The more you repeat any skill set, like if you wanted to become a good writer, you have to keep writing it, a page every single day. And, if you see the progress from day 1 to day 90, you will see that, okay, you have vastly improved your skills and you can apply to any field. You can apply this to, speaking. You can apply this to any kind of sports you wanted to learn. And you can apply this to the podcast which you are doing it. From the first podcast you recorded till the 100 podcasts you are going to record, you are going to change so much. There will be definitely change. It might be a slow change. It might take time. but you will learn and grow, and you will definitely get better. And that is the whole point, how we can become better and learn at the same time.
Yeah. And you touched upon the podcast, when I remember when I first started recording podcasts and doing audio, it wasn't a setup as you see behind me now. It was a very basic, tablet, iPad, for example. It was a very, very basic thing. I didn't have the equipment I've got now, like a microphone. I didn't have earphones properly. I didn't have, this ring light next to me. It was just a very basic iPad, and I just had it on the, table, and that was it. How many podcasts I've done now, I forgot how many, but I've now got a boom mic, I've got a ring light, I've got earphones, I've got a computer now, which is, got the basis so I can use the background. So I've grown myself, but that took time. Now, I can see, and this is me seeing it from a pharmacist's point of view as well, you're saying about it takes time. It's like when you take a new tablet, it doesn't work straight away. You've got to wait till it gets into the system. So with change, it's not a quick remedy to say, okay, 2 days, you're better. It's 30 days later, or the course of a tablets, however long you want them for, you've got to take them and it will benefit you.
Definitely true that, nowadays, or this Z generation, wants instant gratification, like we want it now. Yeah. Who wants to work for 30 days or 60 days to achieve a goal? And that is one of the reasons why change is hard. Our brain wants happiness, or, we want it to be happy to the point that it becomes a hedonic pleasure. I'm not against pleasure. Pleasure is definitely needed to live a happy life, but we should not indulge ourselves in so much of happiness that, we go for it at any cost. Mm. And that is one of the reasons that we are not able to change ourselves, because to do anything in life, it is hard initially. And then you got used to that process that, you start indulging more and more. As Steve Jobs said, you have to, if you are trying to do something, you have to like it. Until and unless you like what you are doing, you will never be successful in that particular field.
Mm, totally. And Steve Jobs is a good example. When he released the iPhone, he wasn't just happy saying, here's a phone and just keep it like that. He wanted to get better at it. And I think he did take him, iPhone, took him 4 attempts, I think. Yeah, 4 attempts. And then sadly passed away. But his legacy lived on after the 4th one, because look where the iPhone is now, and see how the technologies evolved from that.
Well, yes, definitely. It takes, hit and trial method, and it happens to, on an individual basis at the same time, and to the corporate level. When you are trying to do something new, it is going to be hard. It is going to be difficult. And you can relate it to, self-improvement or self-help, that, when you are trying to do something new, it is hard. But if you are persistent, you are going to achieve what you wanted to achieve. It's a very straight kind of formula, but most of the people are not able to understand it. Mm. And how does our brain works is, the first reason change is hard is because we want to be happy. The second reason is we don't want anything to be hard. The third reason is, I like to speak about brain, that, our brain weighs 3 pounds, which is about 2% of our body weight. Yet it consumes 20 to 25% of the energy. Now, when you're trying to do something difficult, your brain will tell, okay, don't do it, because it is going to consume 20 to 25% of energy. And when you are trying to focus, it is going to take, more than that. And the role of the brain is to save energy. Mm. Okay. So it will take, okay, don't do it. And that's where, the brain can save, that much of energy. So, it's always competition between you and your brain. Either you are the captain of your brain or the mind, or the mind is going to control you.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to decide who is the captain. And once you know that who is the captain, the life becomes so easier.
Yeah.
Right now, when I started my self-transformation journey, it was hard. But now I know, okay, who is the captain of this ship? I know that I am the captain of the ship. So it becomes very easy for my mind to not follow, because I know I will put my mind to that rigorous training that it has to follow it. And it takes, time, it takes habits, it takes, behavior changes. But once you have done it, it is there for you for all your life. I don't have to worry about, 5 years down the lane, how, if I'm, following these habits and behaviors, what is the outcome of my life? I know that the trajectory of my life is going to go upwards.
So when you wrote your book, first, the book in 2021, was it listening to what your brain wanted, or was that just generally you as the captain leading that and you followed what you wanted?
So, I started my self-transformation journey in 2017. And it took me around 2.5 years to 3 years to figure it out, how we can change this mind, what is the relationship between, mind and body connection. And once I have figured it out, okay, these are the habits which has improved my life. Like, I do meditation first thing in the morning when I wake up. Then I do, some kind of exercise. Usually I do jogging or running. And the third thing which I do is cold showers. So I have implemented these things, and slowly I have implemented it. Like, when I started meditating, I don't know, what is meditation. And my intention is not to become a monk. My intention is, how can I improve my focus and concentration? Because, focus and concentration is needed by each and every, individual human being. You can be a scientist, you can be a professor, you can be a teacher, you can be a podcaster. If you are not able to concentrate, you are not able to achieve anything. And that is the reason, I started meditating, because my mind was distracted in many directions. And, I was going more towards negativity than towards positivity. And meditation is not related to any religion. That is the misconception I wanted to just, pass on to your listeners. It is all about, deep concentration of mind on a particular thing, object, place, or on your breath.
Yeah.
So once I learned this meditation, I started, doing other activities. I started walking, which eventually led me to run my first marathon. And, I started, reading more and, finding how scientifically, like meditation and exercises, change your mind or your brain, and how, mind and body is connected. And eventually I started, doing cold showers. So all these things, or all these habits or behavior changes, led me to figure out, okay, these are the 3 things which is helping me. And there are other things, which is there, but it has helped me, improve myself. And I can definitely tell that any user that if you implement, these 3 things only, meditation, exercise, cold showers, you can improve yourself within 8 weeks to at least 20 to 25%. And I'm not saying that, you can become Elon Musk if you're doing all these 3 things, but whatever your baseline is. So just assume that, if we take a human potential from 0 to 100, and suppose you are at 25, you can improve yourself by 20 to 25%. And everybody is starting from different baseline. If you might be at 70, or you might be at 75, or some of you might be at, 5 or 10. So if you can improve yourself by, 20 to 25% using these, 3 techniques, then you can go to a place which is definitely happy, healthy, and successful. And the whole goal of writing this book is, like I don't know what is the clear-cut roadmap to become happy and healthy. Once I figured it out, I thought, there are so many people who is struggling in life. They don't know what to do in their life. So it will give them, something to read on, something which give them a scientific reason, because I have explained the things in a scientific reason, how these things is going to change your brain. Because to change is to change your brain. Without changing your brain, you cannot become, somebody different. So the whole point is to help somebody who is in need of change. And, that is the whole reason I wrote that book. And I'm happy that, I wrote that book because, there are so many people who have approached me telling, this has changed their life. And, that is the greatest satisfaction which gives to my life that, I have done something to help, other individual human being, rather than only thinking about myself.
Yeah, and that is commendable. So going into the future, how would you see people's attitudes being towards changing and making themselves look that better for that 2025
David, as I said that, because of the technology, we are getting a lot of information, and which is definitely helpful to this generation as well as previous generation. Like there are a lot of information nowadays which is readily available. Like when I was growing up, there was no internet. Like, the information was scarce. But now there is a lot of information, but I will say there is too much information. So using information wisely is very important if we are, taking the good things rather than, watching the news. What the news is showing is all the negative things, this has happened, about the politics, which is not good, about the negative outcomes, which is happening in this world, rather than, watch the things, which is helpful to you. And if you're, concentrating on becoming better, you will definitely find the resources which is going to help you. And, again, how does this mind works is if we are diverting our energy to negative thoughts, it is going to get bigger and bigger. And if you are diverting your thoughts to positive things, you are going to grow in that field in, 2 or 3 years. So it's a choice. Every individual have it, how I wanted to conduct my life. Because, as I said, you are the captain of this, mind and body. If you want your life to be happy, definitely you have to invest your time and resources in doing, what is exciting to you. And I'm not saying that, do this thing, whatever. You wanted to be a journalist, do that. If you wanted to be a sportsman, go in that field. But whatever is exciting, spend your energy, time, and resources in improving yourself. And definitely in, a couple of years, you will become so much better. I can definitely say that you will be at the top 5% if you're investing 2 or 3 years of your energy in doing something good. Like, you are doing this podcast, I don't know how many years, but if you see in 2 or 3 years, you will become at the top 5% of this podcast, if you are consistent and if you are persistent. And that is the key, and that is the message I wanted to say to this younger generation, that, keep on doing what you like it, and eventually you will get the success what you are looking for.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I know you already mentioned your YouTube already, but how can people find you on YouTube or get in contact with you?
So people can get to my YouTube channel. The name of the YouTube channel is Luvo Productions, Luvo, then Productions. And I do have, all the songs listed there. I have my motivational talks where I, pass on my information. I do have information about my app, which is a free app called Luvo. Anybody can go in Google Play Store or App Play Store and they can download it for free. There is no subscription. And people can find me in my website, which is www.zestolive.com. They can find me in the Facebook page, The Man with Zero Talent, and they can find me in different platforms at the same time. People can Google with my name, Sanjib Nandi, and they can find a lot of information in Google at the same time.
And your Spotify playlist, you've mentioned about a Spotify playlist, because I've got Spotify as well. Obviously, there is other platforms available, but your Spotify playlist, what's that called?
It's with my name, Sanjib Nandi, Sanjib, and my last name is Nandi, Nandi.
Sanjib, it's been a pleasure talking to you about your journey today.